Dr. C.P. Habeeb, a renowned doctor and management expert. He is the chairman of Unity Healthcare. And he had a discussion with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam in which they shared views regarding a developed India. We invite you, sir, to speak a few words about your vision of India 2020.
Thank you for asking me to speak about Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. I am one of the few individuals who had a chance to meet him personally in Rashtrapati Bhavan. And as you all know well, he is a motivator of students, mostly youngsters, youth. Subsequently, I have seen him so many books written, and I found a certain amount of personality in him. So, what kind of personality was Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, especially for the students, because it could be called, we have got fathers. One is our genuine fathers of whom we are born, parents' father. Then you have got a father in the colleges, I don't know, no? Just like your sister here, there are fathers also there. In our early days of schooling, we had fathers of different fathers who educated us. Then we have a father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, is called the father of the nation. Then there are some individuals like in the management and other areas where they call father of motivation. Wayne Dyer, if you have heard of him, father of motivation. Now, Abdul Kalam can be called a bachelor father for the students. Because it's one of the main area of youth and students. He wants to motivate them, make them better for their future. And that was his prime or what you call the lasting intention he had in his later years of life. When I look at his personality, we could analyze in different form. He was a scientist, basically. As you know well, he was one of the eminent scientists of India. Then he was also a nationalist, a true nationalist. Then he was also a humanist, humanitarian. And all his approach to life, fellow beings are always in his mind. And as I said also a little earlier, he is a father for the students in motivation. He wants to motivate. I call bachelor father. He was not married. He has no time to marry also. Bachelor father for student, for motivation. Now, is scientist, as you all know well, is the first one to satellites launching SLV-3, the beginning of his career as a scientist, and subsequently developed to various areas, advisors to the government, to the various other areas and all. He's known as the great scientist of India. As a nationalist, many of you think nationalism is something which every country is proud of. You should be a nationalist. So, when you talk about nationalist, there is nationalist at the time of independence and post-nationalist. A nationalist beginning after independence. During independence, most of them fought for freedom of the country. And they were known as nationalists. Like Mahatma Gandhi, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Gokhale, Azad, all these people fought for the freedom of the country. And in struggle for the freedom, they became nationalists. But behind that, they had a vision for India. What could be the future possibilities? So we have got one of the best constitution also written in the world. So Kalam was a nationalist of different kind. He was not a freedom fighter. Maybe, I don't know, he was not involved much at that time. But he was intensely interested in country's development. His nationalism was mostly based on the people of India, like Mahatma Gandhi. I find a lot of similarities, Gandhi and Abdul Kalam. Both were simplistic people you could find. Gandhi never wore a shirt, you know that. Without a shirt, we can't think of going to a program like this without a suit. No? Even to UK, their parliament without even a shirt. And nobody said, wear a shirt and come. That much of power he had. Very simple. So also APJ Abdul Kalam, another man, was so simple in his life. When I met him in Rashtrapati Bhavan, all big things of Rashtrapati Bhavan was there, but we could see his simplicity in every approach to the way myself and my wife was there, greeted well, and said, "You're a doctor," and asked whether you are a doctor to my wife. No, I am a housewife. That is the best profession for a lady, though he is not married. So I advised my wife to be a good housewife first before you become anything else in life. So all this kind of simplicity was seen in him, and he very religiously in his own understanding followed Gandhiji as a part of his nationalist spirit. Then he was also, many of you know, Gandhiji was a spiritual man. You know, India is a country, as I said in the beginning, of thousands-year-old civilization with a lot of religious values, traditions, culture, plural faith of different religions put together in a congregation and understood in a plural but united personality for something good for humanity. That is the real foundation of our Indian values. So he was very much moved with Gandhiji's writings, Gandhiji's approach to life, Gandhiji's fighting for freedom, and above all, Gandhiji's non-violence in the midst of violence taking around. So when he got the freedom, India won, we were rejoicing there. He writes in one of his books, he writes that Gandhiji was fasting in Calcutta, where the people in Delhi was celebrating the independence. He was fasting for the tragedy of happening, what is called the partition of India and Pakistan, which I always call the failed leadership or people of elders. The partition has given wounds. I call it a political earthquake and of failed leadership. And even today also, we are not recovered from that aftermath of this earthquake, and still tension and tension. Majority of our resources, our energy is wasted on this partition. So whatever it is there, Gandhiji was fasting at that time for peace and harmony, and unfortunate tragedy that took place also. Inspired by all this thing, he also followed a certain type of nationalism plus spiritualism. Gandhi was Nehru, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, he chose the Prime Minister who was an agnostic or atheist, as you know well. He was not a believer in God. But he accepted any religion, whatever your faith you have, you can have it. Open-mindedness, a part of Indian traditions there. So he accepted. But Gandhi was a spiritual man. He believed in God. He believed in the values of every religion. He studied all scriptures. And that was the strength of his personality. So also, APJ Abdul Kalam was written so many books which you must have read. But one book which he has written, not seen in the public much, is the book which he gave to me, which is Guiding Souls. This is a dialogue between himself, and I don't know whether you must be knowing Arun K. Tiwari, the co-author of all other books. He is also a scientist, a professor, a partner with him in his development. A question and answers. And this is very interesting. This is the spiritual journey of his life, which is not known. Of course, he told me also, this is the personal early days of his life. He said his father, he is a born Muslim, as you know. His father was a mosque, what they call imam, the leader who leads the prayer and all the things. And they had some business in small boat and other things. There was a temple next to that, in their house. There was a priest was also there. So his father used to go early morning prayers to the mosque, the temple priest to go to the temple, and both of them they were very close friends. Their first meeting in the morning was a tea shop there, where they have the tea and exchange their human values, exchanging, because both were priests. So that spirit of his understanding each other was also a part of his personality, which was seen subsequently in many of his books, and because he was very much concerned with so many Swamijis, we could see that. That particular meeting with Swamijis and other things has evolved out of his early interaction with his father and other people there. So that is the spiritual personality he had. And this particular book which gave to me is a very question and answers. I wish each of you read. I purchased some copies to distribute afterwards, and one copy I would give to the institution, plus also our guests who are here, because I have a few copies. And he writes in the last farewell what exactly Mr. Tiwari asked the question. May I ask you a personal question at the end of this book, at the end of his interaction? It's all question and answers, in Rashtrapati Bhavan, where we were sitting under a tree. Mr. Professor Arun was asking question, APJ Abdul Kalam was answering that. A lot of things are there. It's very interesting, touching various aspects, not only spirituality, the contribution of the world leaders to the whole society and humanity, the great scientists, great reformist of various religions, etc., etc. And it's a very interesting book. I'm giving, many of you find in time, we can borrow this from principal and read this. In the end, he concludes, how would you describe your own inner journey? He said, APJ Abdul Kalam answers, my inner journey is many things. It is a journey of adventure and discovery. From Rameshwaram Island to Rashtrapati Bhavan, I covered a very long distance. It's a journey of maturation and completeness. From physics to aeronautics to satellite launch vehicles to guided missiles to nuclear weapons to management of human affairs, inquiring into faiths, unity of minds. The domain kept expanding. It has been a journey of truth and authenticity, a journey of love, devotion and passion, a journey of compassion, giving and service. It has been a journey of realization of the nature of soul and reality, a journey of insight and learning, a journey of fulfillment of life and human potential, a journey of freedom, journey till the end. That is, till he dies. That is what he mentioned here. What has happened to him. Then Tiwari asks one more question. Do you feel there is something that has not yet happened, ground not yet covered? APJ Abdul Kalam answers, my journey of liberation from suffering and limitation is inconclusive. There comes the humanity approach. As I said earlier, Mahatma Gandhi, they have something in common of the country, not as country of geographical entity, all that. Pakistan separate, India separate. No, the people who are within the country, who are living together. Both have the same feeling and vision for them. And mainly the poor people who are living in the villages, 750 million people are in the villages now in India. They have very poor amenities. So he says, my journey of liberation from suffering and limitation is inconclusive. There is agony, uneasiness. People in villages are suffering avoidable hardships. You must have, those of you who have read that book, Providing Urban Amenities to the Rural Areas, Pura, that is called. He tried to promote that. That particular thing was his own passion, how you can have these better facilities in urban areas to the people who are in the villages. So people in villages are suffering avoidable hardship. Urban slums are full of adversities amidst the affluence of our development. There is violence, hatred among many people. Then he asks, You are hopeful of peace and harmony? Tiwari asked another question. He replies, yes, where is the doubt? My people will eventually get connected to their Indian essence, which is grace, dignity, and compassion. Such connection will help them sail through the difference of life and the adversities of their times. Finally, they live any life that fits their circumstance in harmony and peace. So, this is the spiritual aspect of his personality. As I said, he was a scientist, he was a nationalist, he was a motivator for the youngsters. I said, the bachelor, father for a youngsters' youth. See? Plus also, he was a spiritual developer, peaceful man who thought of humanity as a whole. And today's program, Think Globally, Act Locally, the global TB initiated by Mr. Paulos, is Think Globally. That means think humanity as a whole, but whatever you can do locally, you'll do the things in your best form, which will benefit the whole humanity. Even a single idea of serving the people of who are sick, if it goes into a larger expansion of that idea, that will become a part of the global approach to your local efforts. Thank you for giving this opportunity. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful message.